This morning I was driving Lenny to school, my 7-year-old son, and the Bee Gees song, How Do You Mend a Broken Heart, came on. And one of the lines in the song says something about nobody ever taught me about the sorrows. And Lenny piped in and said, "Mom, nobody ever taught me about the sorrows." So I thought it was a good opportunity to pause the song and have a little chat with him about sorrow. And I told him that sorrow is like sadness, and sadness usually comes from unmet expectations or wanting things to be different than they actually are, which is really the root of all suffering, is wanting things to be different than they are. And it just sort of came out of my mouth. So the conversation continued, and I told him that one way to hedge against suffering is to be in acceptance of life and what life is presenting, and non-resistance, and trying to control outcomes. It's not that we have to pain or sadness, but really accepting what is, using our imagination and the power of our mind to imagine a reality that we want to experience, to create the life that we want, but also to not be attached to outcomes. So it's kind of a fine and delicate balance. We can be the creator of the reality we want to experience, and we get to sit with whatever we are experiencing. I'm a big believer that whatever we're experiencing in the external world is really just a reflection of what we are experiencing in our internal world. The Hermetic principle, as within, so without. That's what that means. Whatever our internal state is, whatever our beliefs are, whatever we imagine is possible is reflected on the outside in the world that we experience. You think about God and creating the world, there's two accounts in Genesis. There's two creation accounts. And the first one was his imagination, her source. I don't mean to be offensive, whatever the power that created this universe. And the second Genesis account is the physical manifestation of that imaginative process. There is not a thing in this world that didn't first exist in the mind. So that is how powerful our minds are. And so if we're experiencing a reality that causes us to suffer, or that brings us suffering, it's our responsibility to go within and take an inventory of our thoughts, our beliefs, of what is possible, our limiting beliefs of what is not possible. We get to be responsible for the reality that we are experiencing. And if we don't like the reality that we are experiencing, then it starts with our belief. It starts with the thoughts within our being. And once we clean up our mental state and we start living in a mental state that we want to project into the outer world, that's when we can finally experience that.